Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Ben 10 Retrospectives, and I apologize I'm not in a very cheery mood as I usually am in the beginning of these videos, but this is like, I don't know, but I've been taking a few takes of this video because I keep getting interrupted in some ways, so I kind of want to just get this vlog done with, especially considering how late it is and I'm sweating up a storm because I have to turn my fan off when I do these vlogs because it adds unnecessary background noise, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna try and make this video quick, but I just wanted to still get this video out because I enjoy doing these videos every week, and it's always something to look forward to on Fridays. So, okay. That aside, let's talk about episode 12 of the original Ben 10 series, Side Effects. And case to the point, Ben gets sick in this episode. He winds up catching a cold from being in an ice cream truck. It winds up affecting his aliens. So they want to try and get him cured very quickly. But at the same time, a new supervillain has entered the fray, a homeless man by the name of Clancy. Again, we don't know his name until a later episode, who has the ability to control bugs. And he lives in an apartment building that's being torn down. It's because it's old and it's in a part of town that's being renovated. And as such, he's angry at the councilwoman who's sanctioned all this. So he's going to he kidnaps her and wants to kill her. So the Tennysons have to go and stop him, but of course they still have to deal with Ben's sickness and how it's affecting his performances. So I think watching this episode now, even after years, I still think this is actually still a very good episode. I do enjoy watching it for two reasons. One is the villain, who I just find to be kind of creepy, crawly, who kind of fits the creepy homeless man, someone who has mystical powers and just wants to end anyone that crosses him. And because I do like the design with the green skin, the way he kind of has that evil glare that almost all Ben 10 villains are just, they're generically evil but in their own way. In some respects, Clancy does have his own unique backstory. In his case, as most villains, again, most, not all, just kind of like doing things because they like doing because they like it, while others do have some motivation. Like Clancy, he becomes a villain. He's already obviously messed up. He's lived alone for years. His only friends are the bugs, and now his home is being torn down. He's not gonna let that happen, and because of his little creep, because he's obviously messed up. He takes it angrily. He does not take it well, and I think, and again, so yeah, I think he's just a nice villain because, again, and as another special touch is that I just don't like bugs like many other people. But I think the second thing that I like about this episode is Ben's cold affecting his aliens, because we actually do see unique ways how a common cold affects a few Ben's aliens, and while we only see 3 of them, it actually is pretty unique. Like the first alien Ben transforms into when he has a cold is Wildmutt, and since Wildmutt has no eyes, he has to rely on a sense of smell to get around, and in Wildmutt's case, he gets paler, his claws and toenails are green, and because his nostrils are his sense of smell is how he knows where he's going, because those are clogged up with mucus, he's pretty much blind and just ramming into things, so it becomes impeding. Forearms, who's the second alien Ben turns into, he's also paler, and I've read apparently he gets weaker, but I don't really see that much in this episode. But it's affected because he gets very bad BO, and for Heat Blast, it's a total reversal. His flames are frozen, but to compensate, he now has ice powers, which I actually kind of think is nice. And I just kind of like just having a nice change up. We see Ben's aliens being affected in their own. I kind of like seeing the unique ways and they all kind of cater to the aliens. Though Forearms, it doesn't really, and it kind of gets from bad to good in this case, because like we start with Wildmutt, who because of the cold is rendered useless. We get Forearms, who's still very much useless, and who's still very much useful. And his affliction is just kind of minimal. While Heat Blast is probably one of the better affected, because he can still do things, and it's actually nice to see Ben utilizing ice powers. And when Ben does realize he has ice powers, he actually catches on to it very quickly. I do, again, it shows the creativity in that case. And it also kind of shows how Ben beats the villain. Ben doesn't beat the villain through these aliens. I mean, he stops his overall plan, but then Clancy comes back. Ben is kind of healed up because of a battle at a nuclear plant, which, yeah, spoilers, Clancy, in retaliation for the Tennysons stopping him and destroying his building, as well as killing several bugs, he decides, I'm going to blow up the city for revenge, and he's planning on blowing up a nuclear power plant, which shouldn't really work, considering that that's not how it works, but whatever. Cartoon, I'll just let it slide, but but anyway, after Ben gets healed because of all the hot air from the nuclear reactor, he attracts him because of his grandfather created this thing called Sanju Yenpian. He learned from a Chinese monk, because again, secret history and all that, and it somehow gets the bugs to leave, but I don't know, they don't really reference it that much, but that's not really what I like about it. Again, it just shows Ben's creativity without using the Omnitrix, but I think I still like the strength about. I still think the biggest strength is just Clancy, because he's just intimidating with his bugs and just his demeanor, and just the colds, which actually kind of brings in a nice little tidbit that's kind of shown off here and expanded in later episodes, and which in this case is that the Omnitrix doesn't have set forms for each of the aliens. Like, half of the work the Omnitrix does is that it has the alien DNA, and it transforms the user into that alien, but what the person transforms into is entirely depending on the person. Like, Ben could, like, if the Omnitrix somehow wound up in the hands of a 5-year-old girl, and she could access, like, forearms and transform into forearms, and while it would obviously be forearms, that version of forearms would not look how Ben's version look. Instead, it would look like how this 5-year-old girl would look like if she was an alien from the forearm species. I might as well just say it, a Tetraman. That's what they're called. What she would be if she became what she would look like if she was a Tetraman, and which is likewise with Ben, and it depends entirely on the physical state. So Ben's a 10-year-old boy. Whenever he accesses any of his aliens, that's what a 10-year-old boy would look like in each of those respective species. And in this case, since Ben is sick, we see how we see that when the alien DNA is brought in, it doesn't eliminate the sickness. The sickness is actually still a part of it, and it affects the alien in unique ways. And it does show that while the forms that each of the alien forms is just based a little bit on Ben's own physical state, or just anyone who wears the Omnitrix. And it's just kind of a small thing, but it is expanded upon later, which I think also just kind of shows that the Omnitrix just houses the most basic of alien DNA. It holds the strands for the species, but nothing else. It just takes all the genetic codes from the body, but then just alters the species. But I just kind of like that creativity and seeing how the aliens are affected, and just seeing how they're changing, and just kind of show that the Omnitrix never had, and just kind of drop this little small thing with just showing Ben having a cold, his aliens having a cold, and it's not actually outright confirmed, and it's actually outright confirmed how. Sorry. And we actually get confirmation towards this little theory that all the aliens are just what Ben would look like if he was them, in a later episode, which is another one of my favorites. But I think I'm just getting sidetracked at this point. I think that I really just kind of have covered all the points that I like. I like Clancy as a villain. I like I liked seeing Ben. I liked seeing how Ben getting sick and how it affected his aliens. And there's still enough good things in here. They still take advantage of the animation style and so forth. Excuse me. But I really think that's it. Again, still a very good episode. Villain's strong. Action's still nice. Got some good humor, of course, because it's Ben 10. And again, I just kind of like seeing Ben's aliens have a cold, so I think that's really all I can say in the matter. So thank you for sitting through this with me. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week when we look at the season 1 finale for Ben 10. So again, this is Samuel Johnson, and we'll see you next week. Take care.